Matthews, your public defender. The public defender's salary is paid for by the community, and he is charged with the responsibility of giving legal aid free of charge to any person who seeks and needs it. It is the public defender's sworn duty to defend the public accused of crime until they are proved guilty in a court of law. No man can escape the consequences of his past. This is the story of two men who lived alive for over 15 years before the past caught up with them with terrifying impact.
Add to this $72.64 proceeds from the Rummage Bazaar, $57.50 from the pie and cake sale, and $183 even from admission fees, and we wind up after expenses with a net profit of $291.38.
Mr. Chairman, well, all I want to say is, well, we all know how hard Al Milne has worked to make this the most successful carnival the 4th Street PTA's ever had. It's taken most of his nights and weekends for the past couple months, and, well, I just think we ought to show him how much we appreciate it.
Thank you, but in spite of what Mr. Paroli might think, it wasn't a one-man job. Everybody here did more than their part.
Well, now that we've all taken our bows, unless there's some further business, this meeting's adjourned. Oh, Mrs. Milne, congratulations. You should be very proud of your husband.
Thank you, I am.
Organizing this whole operation on a budget of less than $50. Al, I need you at the machine shop. I wish you'd reconsider my offer.
Well, I'm afraid I can't.
But a foreman's pay means at least $100 a month more than you're getting now. Mrs. Millie, can't you do anything with him? He's turned me down 4 times.
Al, you never told me.
Well, it didn't seem necessary. I'm happy right where I am.
But you said yourself it's a dead-end job. We've got to think of the future.
I know. I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm not sure I could handle the job.
There's only one way for him to find out, isn't there, Mr.
That's right.
Oh, please, Al. If only for Sandy.
All right. Well, it looks like you've got yourself a new shop foreman.
Good. I think you'll like it there, Al. It's a great place to work. There's one more thing. Every so often, I'll call on you for a quick estimate of labor and material cost. Figure out a few ways how to keep them down, and there's no telling how far you can go in this business.
Well, I'll do my best. Right now, I better get back to the shop.
Oh, just a moment. You might as well fill this out while you're here. Saves time when the bonding man comes.
Wait, I didn't know I'd have to be bonded for the job.
Well, we have to keep the insurance people happy. After all, when I'm not here, you'll be handling bank deposits and things like that.
I see.
It's just a formality. Take your fingerprint, sign your name a few times, and you're in business.
Your food.
I'm just not hungry, I guess.
If you don't eat your vegetables, you won't get any dessert. Willie, Mommy.
Finish your dinner, Sandy. Al, what's wrong? Why don't you tell me about it?
There's nothing to tell.
But you've been jumping upstairs for 2 weeks, ever since you started the new job.
I said I didn't want to talk about it. Now leave me alone.
Mrs. Milne, is your Al Milne?
I'm Al Milne.
Police officers, turn around. All right, you'll have to come with us.
But you can't arrest him. He hasn't done anything.
Would you get his coat, please?
Oh, no, wait. This is all wrong. What has he done?
Mrs. Milne, we have an out-of-state fugitive warrant for your husband, dated June 7th, 1938, under the name of Alfred Martin.
But that's not his name. 1938? Well, that's over 15 years ago. There must be some mistake.
Fingerprints don't lie, Mrs. Milne.
Your husband escaped from police custody over 15 years ago, while on the way to the state penitentiary to serve a 10-year sentence. Now, would you get his coat, please? Albert Milne was taken to Central Police Headquarters, where he was booked, mugged, printed, and bound over to the municipal court. The grim secret he had kept for more than 15 years, even from the woman he loved, was a matter of public record within a few short hours.
No physical contact. Regulations. You have 5 minutes.
I'm sorry. Honey, are you all right?
Wouldn't be so bad if I could stop worrying about you and Sandy.
Oh, we'll manage somehow. I left her at Mrs. Perot's until I get back. She sent you a kiss.
You didn't tell her where I am.
Well, I had to. She was bound to find out sooner or later, and at least this way she knows it's all a mistake. You'll be back home with us soon.
No, it's no good, Marianne. I ran away from a 10-year sentence. They won't be satisfied until I serve it all. Plus another 10 for escape.
Oh, please, Al, don't talk like that.
I'm sorry. I haven't the right to say anything. Why don't you say what you're thinking? I'm a liar, a fraud. I have been from the start.
You're my husband. I love you.
Don't you understand? It wasn't right. I didn't have the guts to tell you the truth before we were married.
It wouldn't have made any difference. It still doesn't.
I wasn't guilty, Marianne. No matter what they say, I wasn't guilty.
Time's up.
Oh, it's all right, honey. Mommy's here. Everything's going to be all right.
I tried to get it off. I scrubbed and I scrubbed, but it wouldn't wash away.
Oh, honey, that's no reason to cry. It's only his picture. It can't hurt us because we know it isn't true.
But everyone is saying it. All the kids. I hate them.
Oh, no, Sandy, you mustn't. They don't mean to be cruel. They just don't understand, honey. I'll tell you what. There's some peppermint ice cream left in the refrigerator. Why don't we go in and have some, and then we'll decide what to do about the old picture.
I don't want any ice cream. I want my daddy. Oh, Mommy, why don't they let him come home?
He'll be home, honey. He'll be home.
Mrs. Milne. Good evening.
Mr. Singer, Mr. Perot, come in, please.
Well, we'd like to, but we won't have time. We still have plenty of calls to make tonight.
Yeah, a lot of people think this isn't right, what's happening to Al. So we got up some petitions.
Yes, look here. Over 50 signatures from my store alone in less than 6 hours.
Yeah, that's just a start. I've got another one going at my shop. And we haven't even begun the door-to-door canvass.
I don't know what to say. Everything looks so hopeless, but now all these people willing to help.
And why shouldn't they? Al's been doing things for other people ever since I can remember.
It won't be easy, Mrs. Milne. We'll have to get at least 100 signatures to do any good, but we want you to know that we'll keep trying right up to the hearing.
Well, good night. It'll be all right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
I always have a good day. How'd you go?
Oh, I think I'm going to give it up.
Oh, no. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi, Dad.
Now, don't tell me. It's from Aunt Flora. I recognize her taste.
You should. She sent us the same thing when we were married. Paula, where do you want this?
Put it with the others, Dad's den.
Dad's den? Oh, that's a joke. With all of this kind of stuff, it's beginning to look like a department store or a pawn shop.
Cheer up. It's only for 2 more weeks, and then you'll be rid of me and the wedding presents for good.
I suppose we can put up with her another 2 weeks, can't we, honey?
I think so.
Did you know a man named Alfred Martin?
I don't think so. Why?
Well, listen to this. Petitions bearing the signatures of more than 200 local residents have been forwarded to Governor Warren B. Stanton requesting intervention in forthcoming extradition proceedings against ex-convict Albert J. Milne, 39 of 137 South Street. Milne, who was arrested on a fugitive warrant dating back more than 15 years, was apprehended after an FBI check of fingerprints submitted by a local bonding company. He was identified as Alfred Martin of Warrensville.
Charles, is anything wrong?
No, of course not, honey. It's just a nasty situation, that's all. A man being sent back to prison after 15 years.
Are you sure you don't know him? After all, you're about the same age, and Warrensville was a pretty small town in those days.
Yes, a very small town. Dinner ready?
Practically. Charles, it's after 2 o'clock. Come on to bed.
It's no use, honey. I wouldn't sleep.
Then you did know that Albert Milner, whatever his name is. Is that what's bothering you?
We went to high school together, then on through college. I'd see him now and then at vacation time.
Why was he sent to prison?
They said he killed a man. But it was an accident, Bonnie, hit and run. It was raining and an old man was crossing the street. He slipped, froze in the glare of the headlights. Just wasn't any time to stop.
Terrible.
They found Al's car the next morning with the fender all smashed in. A piece of the old man's coat wedged in the broken headlight.
Yeah, there's no need to get upset over something that happened 15 years ago. Forget it.
Thought I had.
Now, this is ridiculous. The way you're carrying on, anyone would think you hit the old man.
I did.
Charles!
Nobody saw me take the car. I sat there all through the trial watching the evidence pile up against him. Too scared to do anything about it.
I can't believe it. All these years we've been married, you never told me.
I couldn't, Bonnie. Any more than I could give myself up after it happened. Just didn't have the guts. Then Al escaped and completely disappeared, and it looked like an out for both of us.
So you kept quiet.
Oh, Bonnie. What are we going to do? Can't let them send him back to prison.
What do you propose to do? Take his place? Destroy everything it's taken years to build up? No, Charles. We're going on as though nothing had happened. We're going to forget you ever heard of that man.
As the time for Albert Milne's extradition hearing approached, Mary Ann was faced with a serious problem. It was imperative to keep her fears from her daughter. At the same time, the child had to be prepared for any eventuality. It was at this point that Charles Landis emerged from her husband's past.
I'll be glad to do anything I can, but as for being a character witness, I'm not certain that would do much good. I haven't seen Al since he left Warrensville.
Yes, I understand that. But you were there when all this trouble started.
That's why the news came as such a shock to me. I was certain the entire case had been forgotten years ago.
Al never forgot. He always knew it would catch up with him someday. He used to have nightmares. Wake up in a cold sweat. I'd ask him what was wrong, but he never told me. I'm sorry.
Please, Mrs. Milne, I understand.
Mr. Landis, you must have known my husband very well to be concerned about him after such a long time. Do you think he has a chance?
Mrs. Milne, listen to me. Your husband is not a criminal. He's proved that by the life he's led since he came here. There have been friends, neighbors,
Hundreds of names on petitions, all working in his favor. No governor in his right mind would dare to send him back to prison in the face of public opinion like that.
You really believe that?
If I didn't, I wouldn't be here.
Then the least I can do is share your faith.
That, and one thing more. I realize what a strain this has been on you, and if this would help.
Oh, I shouldn't accept your money. It wouldn't be right.
Then we'll call it a loan. Please? It would make me feel better to know that, well, that you and your daughter...
You're very kind.
Thank you, Mrs. Milne.
I don't know how Sandy and I would have managed without friends like you.
Thank you, Mrs. Milne, for letting me help.
I don't know what to tell you, Mr. Landis. If it were any charge other than escape.
But he's led a model life since then. What good would it do to send him back now?
That's exactly the argument we have to try and sell to the governor. And it's not going to be easy.
You have witnesses, petitions. I understand there are over 300 signatures.
There are always witnesses and petitions in a case like this. But on the basis of my experience, I'd say that they don't often do much good.
Well, then, would it do any good to see the governor in advance of the hearing?
Well, he's a reasonable man. It can't do any harm.
I'll get on it right away, then.
Oh, and there's one other thing you might do, Mr. Landis. Go see Albert Milne.
I couldn't believe it when they told me you were coming here. You turning up out of nowhere. It still hasn't seemed possible.
We're old friends, Al. I had to come just as soon as I heard about it. I've just come from Matthew's office. He said to tell you that everything was going along fine.
You don't have to lie to me, Chuck. I know where I stand. I wouldn't care if it was just myself, but when I think what this is doing to Mary Ann and Sandy... You don't know what it's like to live with something like this for 15 years and see your whole world ripped open, your family shamed and hurt. Then you don't even know if you'll ever get the chance to make it up to him.
But you will, Al. I swear it. We're going to see the governor, Matthews and I. He'll listen to us. We'll make him see that you were innocent. You never should have been sent up to prison in the first place.
There's only one person who could do that. And he ran out after he killed a man with my car 15 years ago.
This is an exceptional case, Governor. The vast amount of public interest is proof of that.
I've seen some of their petitions. Still, you must concede their appeal is based primarily on emotion, and as such can have little bearing on the legal aspects of the case.
Legal aspects. Begging your pardon, sir, but can you explain those to a little girl when they take away her father for something that happened before she was born?
Mr. Landis, I'd like to help you. But the principle of extradition works two ways. If I were to refuse to send Albert Milne back to the complaining state, they might deny action on one of our own fugitive warrants that are pending.
We understand that, Governor, but I feel another principle is involved. The purpose of our entire penal system is not punishment, but rehabilitation. Well, Albert Milne has proven himself a worthwhile citizen of the community in 100 different ways.
I assure you, gentlemen, that'll be taken into consideration. However, in view of this conversation, I feel that I should disqualify myself from any further participation in the case. I'll appoint a special commissioner to conduct the hearing and accept his decision as final.
Governor, what do you mean by a special commissioner?
You can always appeal to the governor of a state on personal grounds. But with a special commissioner, it's strictly according to law.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sorry to have taken up so much of your time.
Not at all. Good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Worried. After all, 4 days is a long time.
I had a lot to do.
It's that Milne case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, stay out of it, Charles. Please stay out of it.
How's Paula? Have you told her?
Don't worry, she doesn't know anything. And if you use your head and stay out of it, she'll never have to know.
Saw the governor today, Bonnie. Milne hasn't a chance.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, really, Charles, I am sorry. Anyway, you'll know you did everything you could.
No, not everything.
I don't like the sound of that. If you mean what I think you do...
There's no other way, Bonnie. I've got to give myself up.
Oh, you must be insane.
Insane? I wouldn't have Milne on my conscience.
Your conscience.
But he has a wife, Bonnie, and a little 7-year-old daughter. You can't imagine what all this is doing to them.
But Charles, you have your own family to think about. Oh, I'm not important, but Paula is. In a few days, she's going to be married to a fine boy from a wonderful family. If you do anything to wreck that now, she'll hate you the rest of her life.
Don't you think I have a right to decide that?
Paula.
Paula, how long have you been standing there?
Just long enough, I'm afraid. Dad, you killed that old man.
Paula, listen to me. You've got to forget everything you heard in that room right now. It never happened. Do you understand? Nothing has changed.
Ever since I was a little girl, I looked up to Dad as the kind of man I'd marry someday.
And I had let you down, Paula.
No. And I don't think you ever will.
Do you hear what she says? You've got to give up this insane idea.
Is that what you want, Paula?
I'm sorry, Dad. Only you can make that decision.
The only defense in the extradition hearing for Albert Milne was an outright plea for mercy. This meant a long procession of character witnesses, one after the other.
Well, like I said, I've known the Milnes for 8, maybe 9 years, ever since they moved into the neighborhood.
And in all this time, would you say that Albert Milne's reputation has been good?
All I know is you couldn't ask for a better friend or neighbor. I don't care what they say he's done. It just wouldn't be right to send a fine man like this to prison.
Mr. Commissioner, how much longer must we listen to all this? 20 witnesses have stated again and again that Albert Milne is a good husband and a kind father, and that he's done many fine things for the community. Hundreds of good citizens have signed petitions stating the very same thing. Now, my state is willing to admit all of that. But that's not the point of this hearing. In my state, he killed a man and injured another, a prison guard, escaping the punishment he deserves. And we want him back, and we want him now.
But what good would it do? He's been punished enough. For over 15 years, he's been afraid. He's never stopped being afraid. Isn't that enough punishment?
Please, Mrs. Milne, we'll have no more outbursts like this. I think we can agree that the arguments, both for and against extradition, have been thoroughly explored. Unless you have any further testimony?
No.
Then if there are no objections, we'll consider this hearing adjourned, pending a decision.
Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to testify.
I don't think it would do any good.
But you're wrong. It's very important.
Permission granted?
This man was convicted of a crime that he didn't do, because the real criminal kept silent. This was a hit-and-run case in more ways than one, Mr. Commissioner. Because the driver of that car ran away and left Albert Milne a victim of circumstantial evidence to face the consequences. I know this to be true because after 15 long years, I want to confess, I was that man.
As a result of the testimony of Charles Landis, the extradition warrant against Albert Milne was denied, and steps taken to secure a full pardon. As for Landis, the statute of limitations for his crime had expired. His punishment came from his fellow man. Now, the case you have just seen was brought to a fair and just conclusion through the efforts of a public defender. Public Defender Robert J. Pigeon of Tolan County, Rockville, Connecticut, and his staff for outstanding achievement in the cause of justice. public defender is an attorney employed by the community and responsible for giving legal aid without cost to any person who seeks it and is financially unable to employ private counsel. It is his duty to defend those accused of crime until the issue is decided in the court of law. The first public